welcome to the Future of Tech and OnTrend Chain. We have an exciting program this evening for you. Thank you all for coming and attending. And without further ado, let's get started. I'd like to welcome Somnia from Orbis86, who is one of the main organizers of this event. Welcome, Somnia.
So I would love to thank our main sponsor, GNUSAI. And I would also love to invite Tony, as well as Ken, out here on stage. We have a wonderful panel discussion.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kenneth Hurley. I'm one of the founders of GNUS.AI. We're in the decentralized physical infrastructure network space, and we're kind of a dynamic DePIN. And I brought Tony up here because we basically worked together 25 years ago, something like that. And I had started Graffiti Entertainment, and it was a public company, and I brought Tony in to kind of take Graffiti Entertainment public, but it kind of falls in line with what we're doing in the Web3 in the gaming space. And so, yeah, here's Tony. I'm kind of blocking his picture, but go ahead and introduce yourself, Tony.
Hi, so I'm Tony. I go by the short of my middle name, so if you see Peter, it's actually Tony. I promise I'm not schizophrenic. I've been in the games industry for 34 years. Basically, my background is in the area of product management. I've run internal dev studios as well as worked with tons of different external dev companies located all over the world for console games, mobile games, etc.
Yeah, we're going to just make this kind of a chat between him and I because we've had a great conversations over here, so more of a fireside chat. But I'm going to give you a little introduction to Genius, but I don't want to bore you with all the tech side of things. So, Sonia, can you go to the next slide there? She's not paying attention. All right, so as I said, we're kind of a decentralized compute infrastructure, but we're very unique compared to other DePINs. We've been doing this since 2016. I developed the artificial intelligence processing side of things on GPUs because I worked for NVIDIA for 4 years, and I understand how GPUs work pretty well. And a couple of years ago, like 4 years ago, we realized that it had much more potential to even be run while you're playing a game. And so we said, oh, hey, look, we can start to integrate games. And we had Graffiti Entertainment that had 100+ games. And so we can kind of integrate them into doing AI processing, but basically do the AI processing behind the scenes while you're playing the game. And so you don't really have to integrate to the blockchain. So we're a frictionless kind of integration. And so you don't have to tie your tokenomics in the game to, or your economics in the game to your tokenomics on the blockchain. None of that exists in our system. And so this kind of brought us to kind of starting to working with the game industry and bringing Tony on board for Graffiti Entertainment. But can you tell us a little bit about why, when we first got introduced, how you saw the partnership and things like that for that?
So I'm really excited about it because as I kind of look at things, imagine like a quad plot where I think based on how the Genius SDK fits in with all the stuff that we're going to be doing for all of our games and apps, you could really address a wide variety of things from fully interactive content, such as what we would all know as a game, to stuff that's very passive, that's stuff that you spectate, stuff that you watch, and then different things in between where there's a mix of stuff that's both active and passive. And that leads us into doing all kinds of really cool gamified learning experiences as well as like purely entertainment bases. And I see that as something that's really kind of new and unique that you're not really seeing out there. And I think it's more of a focus on the experience, which I think sets us apart from what's been done in the past.
Yeah, and because we don't really force Web3 per se, onto the gaming industry, what we do is we integrate the blockchain behind the scenes, and they don't actually even need to know or care that they're actually using the blockchain for the payment system part of it. And so it ends up being where you can just create a game, and all the game developers, I was one for many years and did a bunch of games, where they no longer have to worry about how am I going to tie my tokenomics and my economics together. And so they can just make great games, and they can strip out ads out of their system, and they don't need to find paid players either, because the AI processing that's happening in the background, we pay out to the game developer and the game player. And so it basically makes what we call play and earn, not play to earn, because you don't need to focus on trying to hammer on a rock till you get a gem for a token. You just play the fun game, and then the AI processing is paying you out while you're doing that and while you're playing that game. So it's a unique opportunity, but the infrastructure needed to be built for that over the last 8 years. So we have our own kind of private blockchain, which is like Monero or Bitcoin, and that all rolls up to any chain that you want. Like when you want to extract the tokens out to Ethereum, for instance, we could go through the Ethereum network, or we could go through the Polygon network. So it's kind of this, what we call a dynamic DPIN, because as you're playing the game, you're part of the network, but if you stop playing the game, then you're no longer part of the network, but another player can come in and be part of the network. And then, you can have static nodes. So we have both static and dynamic nodes, which is really interesting. So we are able to feed the game industry or have a vertical in the game industry, but we can do other things like Tony was mentioning, we can do a streaming application. And while you're watching a video, it's almost not using the GPU at all. So we can use the GPU to do AI processing, so we can actually get paid to watch videos and stuff too. So it's kind of a unique proposition over all the other decentralized physical infrastructure networks that are out there.
The other thing that's kind of cool about that is that over the last few weeks, we've actually had several calls with groups from like the edtech space, fintech space, sports organizations that have all seen a lot of value in the things that we're doing with the platform that we're building. And so because of that, it really kind of gives us a chance to kind of test out all these neat, innovative product verticals where they may not exist right now.
Yeah, and Sonia, if you can go to the next slide. I think I have, so this is kind of some of the key features of it that we have built in, but actually go to the next slide there too, because this one kind of is what I want to, sorry, one more. This is some of the areas we can be in the market opportunities, but I think the last slide has a really kind of, yeah, so this is kind of what we're talking about with the impact opportunities, because there's the game studio over there and the Genius token, and the game studio, like Graffiti, can have their own token that's tied to our smart contract, and that also is tied to our blockchain, our private blockchain that's like Monero. One of those can have an NFT. So, but they don't have to worry about, hey, I need to make my game and out to like Ethereum or Polygon and then onto OpenSea. So it's kind of this unique opportunity.
I think it also gives us a chance from the game who's the president of Graffiti and I, with all the years we've had making games, we've got a great opportunity to really kind of focus about crypto in the game space in the past, and so we really kind of want from the ground up to do things fundamentally differently from what's been done in the past.
Yeah, especially with Web3, because I like I said, I was an engineer and did a lot of games in the past, and I knew, I never wanted to kind of take all my resources and try to figure out how I was going to embed myself into crypto. I just want to make great games, right? And it kind of expanded because everybody kept talking to us and they're like, hey, can we do this? And you can see over here, we just signed an agreement with an internet service provider in the Philippines, and it's an ISP, and they basically said, hey, we can use your system because we have a couple 100,000 nodes that are sitting there that are set-top boxes that have GPUs in them. So we got instant access by signing a deal with them to like a couple 100,000 GPU nodes, which is really nice. And so that ISP is in the Philippines, but the country could also have their own token, if they wanted tax, which I hope we don't ever do, but the ISP can have his own token, and then that country in the Philippines can have a game studio, and they can have theirs, and they can all roll up because they're really child tokens of Genius, and that gives them access through that path up to Genius into the blockchain, but they don't really even have to do anything. It's Genius and then out to the blockchain behind the scenes, and so they're never 8 minutes to process the block and things like that. So none of that all goes away, and that was kind of our goal, to make this zero friction. And the fact that we removed ads, the need for ads, or the need to find players that you can monetize. We've taken that out, so we call it negative friction monetization, because we not only solved the blockchain problem, we also solved your monetization problem with ads and the finding the players that will pay you, because it's a very small portion of players that actually pay for games, and a very small percentage of that.
And we're kind of arranging everything to be organized under what Roger and I are calling the genus sphere. And the goal with that is to basically set up a platform where I don't want to have anybody ever come to Graffiti and say, hey, congratulations, you just replicated some of the worst things about the App Store and Google Play right now, which is where most of the stuff like doesn't monetize, and it's also not discoverable. So it gives us a really good opportunity to create a data-driven, personalized experience that will show you stuff that's contextually relevant based on what we know about you and things that you like, which we think is going to help with the stickiness factor, which is going to help to drive attention to not only Genius, but also to Graffiti as a brand.
Yeah, if you in the expo, and we have a bunch of devices set up there, and the mobile devices showing all this, and we haven't quite launched the testnet yet. We're supposed to do that here in the next week or so. We're actually supposed to do it right before consensus, but we're just coming from the game industry. I like to code stuff and make sure everything's solid on the web space, and who cares, you know, if it breaks. Just from writing games my entire life, I just don't do that. You couldn't do that when you write stuff for the Sony PlayStation or the Xbox. You know, they would kill you if your game crashed, you know, right mid to use and testing and all that. And we've kind of translate that into blockchain to make a solid product before we were released, and making the blockchain as you know, for security and things like that. So chain space, and they have zero friction to do that, and all the resistance from that was the friction for, hey, like Immutable X, for instance, if they want to bring on a game, then they have to find a game that has thousands of users, and then they'll fund them. This is completely the opposite. It's like, look, we don't have to fund you. You don't have to find funds for finding your players that will pay you. Now you can just make great games, back to the old school days when I was making games in the 80s. Now you can just make great games that are fun to play.
I think it helps to kind of restore some of the luster on games from the past, where it hasn't kind of devolved into how big is your marketing budget, and it really doesn't matter what your experience is. It lets you.
This kind of fell out of, it's funny because my daughter, who's 12, was playing Roblox, and they were always hitting her up for, hey, you know, I spent $20 this week so I can build a house as a creator. And I'm like, well, can you monetize that? And she's like, no, you can't do that in Roblox. And I got kind of mad, and I'm like, what? Day long. She's like, no, they won't let you. You basically build it and then show it off, but you have to pay to be a creator. And I thought that was one of the dumbest things I ever heard. And I said, okay, we're going to integrate games in here, because great stuff. Any closing thoughts? 30 seconds.
No, I just thank you everybody for your time today. I appreciate it. Really excited to kind of share with you guys everything we're looking to build with Graffiti over the years to come, and grateful to Ken for giving us the opportunity to work with him and all the great guys at Genius.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, I'd like to welcome Sandy Carter, the COO of Unstoppable Domains. She would like to say a few words. Welcome, Sandy.
So you know, they told me to break a leg before I came, so I did, which means I can't get up on the stage to speak tonight. But I wanted to chat with you guys for just a couple of minutes on Unstoppable Domains. Each of you is going to get an Unstoppable Domains for being here tonight. And what is that? It is a Web3 digital identity. So it enables you to have lots of different superpowers in the Web3 space. So for example, with your digital identity, you can use sandy.secret, one of the new TLDs we just introduced today, to log into over 865 applications. You can use sandy.secret to resolve crypto addresses, so taking your long 20-digit set of characters and numbers into a wallet address. Or you can do group chat, which enables you to do an encrypted group chat as well. This is really powerful. So can you guys guess every week how many resolutions do we do taking a domain to a wallet address? Anyone want to guess? I know you guys can guess. 10,000. 50,000. We do 30 million resolutions every week taking a domain name into a crypto address. That's our #1 use case. Our second most used use case is group chat. So using your domain, you can group chat with 3.9 million people, but you can also segment your audience and chat with them as well. One of the things that we've recently been introducing and leveraging is something called branded TLDs. So, you know, we started with .crypto, .x, you probably know .eth, but now you can have your own branded TLD too. So just like we did today for the secret network, we did .secret, which is super cool. We even got a call today from Victoria's Secret, wanting to make sure they reserve that. We also have .pudgy. Any pudgy penguins in here? So we do .pudgies. We also have .polygon and others. So if you're interested in doing a branded TLD, come and see me as well. And then I'll give you some alpha if you want some alpha. Yeah? You guys aren't very excited tonight. Come on. So tomorrow we are going to announce that we'll have the first embedded MPC wallet into purchasing a Web3 domain name. We did this because we launched new domains like .austin, which is all Web2, .pog, 150 million Web2 users. So now what we're doing is as you go in to buy your domain, if you want, you can automatically be issued a wallet with a click of a button, just using your email. So easy for Web2 users. If you're an experienced Web3 user, obviously you can still use your Phantom wallet or whatever wallet you choose. But if you are Web2 and you don't really understand it or get it yet, or setting up a wallet's too hard, you can do that too. So I do want to thank Tim Draper and the Draper team. They were our first investor and have been with us through every round, even through our unicorn round. So thank you guys very much. And a huge round of applause for Soniya, who sets up the great events, but she's also just a great human. Thank you guys for listening tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. And Tim does talk about unstoppable domains very favorably. It's one of his favorite investments. So next up, we have Wayne Marcel from FIO Protocol. And I'm really sorry if I've messed up anyone's name up here.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight? All right, so I'm going to share a little bit about FIO and what we do. All right, so what I'm going to share with you is actually there's some similarity to unstoppable domains, what Sandy just mentioned. We overlap in the wallet naming service, but there's a lot of different things we do. And so there's not a lot of competition in this space as we're all working together to push adoption. With FIO, we're also working to make crypto easy. And so what we're gonna do is the best way to learn something is to actually do it, right? I can tell you how to set up a wallet, I can tell you what to do, but today what we're gonna have is our team's gonna start handing out cards to everybody. And once I go through my presentation telling you a little bit about what FIO is, we're gonna have you, if you want, you can install a wallet, this Edge wallet if you don't have it already. And the card's gonna have $5 worth of Dogecoin on it. All right. So simplified transactions. So our format is a little different in that it's in the format of user at domain. So you can replace all your different wallet addresses. So instead of having that long wallet address, you can have any handle. Our handle's in the format of user at domain. We don't use any dot extensions. So there's generic ones that anybody can register a free handle on. At Wallet, at HODL, at Moon. And then when partners integrate our protocol into all of their wallets, you can, if you go into Edge Wallet, you can get your username at Edge. Or if you want to customize it, you can also purchase your own ending. So instead of at rules, you can get your last name, your company, your brand, and then let your customers, your team members all register handles on those. All right, so it's a unique identity. So you can have your name at partner. What we're looking for is people that want to integrate our protocol. The way we're designed, we're structured as a nonprofit foundation. We launched the mainnet, we launched a layer 1 blockchain 4 years ago. We had some help from Binance and some others. And our goal was not to just build another naming service, but build an ecosystem to where our partners earn the majority of the revenue. So if you integrate our protocol, which is open source, into your wallet, into your exchange, into your Web3 platform, if you're building Web3 game, Web3 social media, whatever, then you earn the majority of the revenue that's generated from people utilizing the FIO protocol. So you can send and receive and request digital assets. That's another unique feature. And that's what you're gonna learn tonight is you can send a request to someone. So just like you may be familiar with PayPal and Cash App and Venmo sending centralized payment requests, you can send a decentralized payment request to a FIO handle. When that person receives the request, you can request what kind of crypto you want, how much you want, and also put a memo as to what it's for. Invoice 123. You can also put in like, hey, pay me back for the drinks last night, whatever that may be. And then when they get that in their wallet, all they have to do is approve it, and it pushes those funds to that user. So it's an easy way to handle payments, invoicing, utilizing decentralized payment requests. You can also link your public addresses to every blockchain, every coin, every token. There's no limitations as to what chains, coins, or tokens that are supported. So it was built from the core with interoperability in mind. It doesn't matter if you spin up a new chain tomorrow, it's a simple process to map that wallet address from that chain to the FIO protocol. So every time you go to send, every time you send, you can have it resolved to that right wallet address. So our pricing model is simple too. As I mentioned, we want it to be low cost. FIO handles are typically $2. FIO domains are $40. And we split 50% of that revenue with our partners. The majority of that, also, the rest of it goes to our block producers and those that are staking and supporting the chain. All right, next. It's not working. So this is what we're gonna do. This is what I mentioned. You don't really learn anything until you actually do it. So we've got those cards handed out. Have y'all got the cards? All right. So on those cards, you can go to the Edge wallet. You can either go to edge.app and download it from the Play Store or App Store. If you go to search it in your app or Play Store, just search Edge Wallet, because if you search Edge, a lot of stuff comes up. Download the wallet. I'm gonna be around if you have any questions setting this up, because I know my time's up and I've got to, but I'll be around to help you if you have any questions. On one side of the card is the private key that you're gonna sweep. After you download the wallet, when you go to set it up, it's gonna prompt you to set up your free handle, which is your name at Edge. So set up your name at Edge. And then from there, there's a menu button. Can we go to the next slide? So there's a menu button that you are gonna, did we skip something? Yeah. From the menu button, you are going to basically select scan QR in the menu, and you're gonna scan that private key QR code that's on the side that says crypto gift card. That's to sweep that private key, and you're gonna get $5 of Dogecoin. Just ironically, the Edge wallet picked Dogecoin before we knew it was gonna happen last week with Kabosu passing away, so that's just a coincidence. And from there, you're gonna sweep that private key and you'll have $5 of Doge in your wallet. Now next, you're gonna go to, if you go to the FIO token in the wallet, there's an option there to hit request. If you hit request in there, you're gonna put in, as you can see, it's kind of blurry right here. You can request, you put in the dollar amount, you're gonna put in, which would be $5, you're gonna request $5 worth of FIO tokens, and then you're gonna send it to join@FIO, JOIN@FIO, and when I get that request for $5, I'm gonna approve it and send you $5 of FIO tokens. So everybody with one of those cards, you can get $10 of crypto. So I know it's kind of rushed. If you got any questions when you're setting it up, just come see me, I'll be in the back and I can help you through it. All right, that's it. Thank you, everybody.
All right, next we have Brendan Crenshaw from ALTA Labs. And for those of you that want to get to know more about FIO, make sure you find Wayne. He's going to stick around and help you out.
So hello guys, we are ALTA Blockchain Labs, and we have acceleration for startups. We have consulting, and we have the projects to climb to the CoinMarketCap to the 50, because we approve the liquidity for big projects like Toncoin or another one, our clients you can see on the CoinMarketCap.
Hello guys, I'm Brandon. Yeah, so just to touch base on what Yaroslav said, ALTA Labs is a blockchain accelerator based in Dubai. A lot of our projects that we work with primarily come from Europe, the Middle East, Asia, and recently, as of the USA, as we gain more adoption for crypto in the USA. So we provide a lot of blockchain consultancy, advisory, and we wish to work with a lot of new Web3 startups and blockchain enterprises.
Yes, guys, skip every this possible this project which every year the changes on consensus, and we invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum and doing something crazy there. So guys, enjoy, and I glad to be there, and I wish you the I don't know. Guys, real there, it's a real asset, a real good networking. You can find the real guys who can invest in your big money, and you can find the real good networking. So guys, enjoy.
We love turtles.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, guys. And next, we'd like to thank, and we couldn't do this without all of our sponsors, so another round of applause for them. And we'd like to thank the next sponsor, which is Somnia.
Current virtual worlds are fragmented. Users find themselves trapped in isolated pockets of virtual reality, blocked by barriers and inefficiencies. Creators face obstacles in integrating and remixing their content in an expensive environment where the value is not fairly distributed. No blockchain that exists today can handle the millions of transactions needed to run a virtual society. Somnia Network combines its groundbreaking omni-chain protocols with a cutting-edge Layer 1 blockchain that was specifically designed to bring millions of users into an open and unified metaverse. Somnia's revolutionary protocols are crafted to make every user, experience, and piece of content interoperable in the metaverse. Creators are empowered to innovate by remixing and collaborating, and are rewarded for their contributions. Entering Somnia upgrades existing NFTs, adding utility and new value, and giving them a soul in the metaverse. Join us in building this new virtual society. Somnia. This is where the new creator economy begins.
And Scott Wagner from OffChain.
Hello, everyone. Welcome Consensus 2024, right? And side events and awesome things going on, right? So, yeah, my name is Scott Wagner, and I'm associated with an organization called OffChain Global. Kind of think of it as like a meetup group on steroids that has global presence, right? There's, I think, currently 72 chapters globally. I started OffChain Denver in 2023 at ETH Denver, and I just recently moved to Austin, and I'm jumping in as what we call co-founders or community managers, same thing, for OffChain Austin. So this is my first event with an OffChain Austin hat on, and organizations like Orbis86 and also OnePieceLabs, and we do partnering events with them, and we do a lot of social events. Every chapter pretty much runs what they want to do, either very social, working with partners, maybe doing speaker events, maybe doing projects on their own, like the one in OffChain Minneapolis. They're Cardano focused, for example. They do Cardano projects. The ones in Silicon Valley and San Francisco are very active, as you can imagine, with the tech there. And with Austin booming, I think there's great opportunity here as well. So if you'd like to know more about OffChain Global, locally OffChain Austin, or maybe there's an OffChain in your neck of the woods, I can help you find that out. And we're on Telegram and LinkedIn primarily. So, yeah, like to meet anybody that wants to talk about it. I'd like to hear what you're up to also. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Scott. And if you'd like to hear more about off-chain, don't forget to contact Scott. And we have some great merchandise for all of you. It's over there in the corner. And I want to thank our merchandise sponsors, Hedera, Unstoppable Domains, and Aavegotchi. Please give them a big round of applause. Woo, merchandise is always good. Free merchandise. Now I'd like to call on Dafu Gao to moderate the on-chain gaming panel. This is going to be an exciting panel.
So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dafu, D-A-F-U. I'm the partner at OnePieceLabs. We are a Web3 incubator based in Silicon Valley, founded in 2022. So it was our great pleasure to work with this event, work with Orbis86. And thank you, Soniya, for the invite. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome all the amazing panelists for this panel on the stage. Let's welcome Wayne from Fio on the stage. And we have Paul from Somnia. Yeah, we have Devin from Hedera. And we have Jason from Aavegotchi. Yeah, perfect. We have everyone here. Then, so we have another panelist, Soniya, which gonna join us pretty later. Perfect. So I'd like to thank all the hosts, co-hosts, and sponsors and partners making this event possible. And thank you all the amazing speakers for joining us. And of course, thank you everyone for attending this event, because I know that attending the conference and a lot of side events are tiring. However, you made it, right? You joined one of the best side events during Consensus. So bravo. Cool. Let's get started. Great. I prepared some really fun questions for the gaming. So I will say let's start from all the panelists on the self-introduction. Please introduce yourself, why you got into the Web3 industry, and what project you are building right now.
All right, so Wayne Marcel, head of growth at Fio Protocol. I got into this space, 2016 was when I really started dipping my toe in the water, and I realized how big the impact of this technology is on the world. Not just money. I mean, money is the first thing that's going to be fixed, but there's so many different things that can be fixed with this technology, and we got to do our part. We've got to educate others because it's complicated. And so that's kind of where I got my start, and now helping run the growth side of Fio Protocol.
Hello. Hi, I'm Devin Saxon. I am head of product marketing at Hedera. I'm going to preemptively apologize if I buffer at any moment. My brain feels really fried.
It's all good.
I know you feel that, don't worry. I've been at 3 a.m. last night.
Yeah, right.
You need a drink?
Yeah, I actually. No, yeah. But yeah, I've been a part of Hedera for the last 2 years now. I'd say I've been following the Web3 industry since 2017. But yeah, I think it was kind of just like my network of friends kind of pulling me into it, and just being at the front end of innovation and tech is just what's always been very attractive about the space. If you're not familiar with Hedera, it's a layer 1 company, so got a lot of projects in the gaming space building on top of us now. So if Karate Combat included, if you guys are going to go to the event tomorrow. So yeah.
Cool. Hey everyone, my name is Paul. I'm the founder of the Somnia project. So I got into Web3 in 2020. But I've been in the game industry for about 13 years, so building video games, building tech for the games industry. I got into Web3 because the ethos, basically. I'm just a big believer in like open technologies that everyone can build on top of, that everyone can share with. I think that's the best thing for the world, and will make us all build stuff that's better and build stuff that helps the world, so yeah.
My name is Jason DeSimone. I am the business development lead for Aavegotchi, which is a community-owned decentralized gaming protocol. I first dipped my toe in the crypto waters 2014, but in a very novel way. Bought a little bit of Bitcoin. Do not have the key to that wallet, so you know that's fun. But I came back around and started to get really fascinated with NFTs and Web3 and building digital communities in 2019. The first NFT I purchased was an Aavegotchi, and a couple years later I had the opportunity to work with the project in a more formal capacity, and it's been really fun to be both a community member as well as an employee of the studio behind the project, and grow as we move towards the launch of Aavegotchi Chain, which is coming right around the corner.
Perfect. Okay, thank you everyone. Right now we have learned more about our speakers. So I like to start from some simple and warm-up questions. So talking about this bull run, I'm wondering how long do you think this bull run can last? And besides Web3 games, what other narrative do you think might dominate this bull run? Yeah, we can start from anyone.
Same order. All right. So yeah. If my answer's ridiculous, you guys just laugh. No, I think you said how long the bull run will last.
Yeah, how long and what other narrative?
I think we haven't even seen. I mean, we've seen price go up, but everything's driven right now by Bitcoin. That's typically the leading indicator. And there wasn't a lot of retail involved in this run up of Bitcoin from, call it say 30 to 70, right, and 60 to 70 range we've been ranging. And really historically, you look at it, I mean, you really start to see the impact of the halving usually 4 to 6 months after. And that's where I think we're going to range for a little while, and then we're going to see a good year and a half of really solid bull run, really solid market movements. You're going to see a lot of hype come back into the space, and because everybody knows once Bitcoin runs again and then stops for a second, alts are going to explode. And so that's what I think. And really the narrative other than AI, obviously, is, again, I'm thinking DePIN is going to be a big one. More decentralized physical infrastructure is needed. And that's going to tie a lot of things together. So that's kind of the narratives I think that are really going to play out. I think Web3 gaming is going to have another emergence, and possibly NFTs, but not what we saw in NFTs before. More utility-based NFTs, more real-world assets, tokenized. It's going to be less like hype and play and more institutional plays in NFTs.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on the bull run aspect. I don't think we've fully entered into it yet, but like a year away, I think we'll start to see some steam pick up even more than what we've seen recently. But along with real world asset tokenization, completely agree with. Like, it seems like to be something that people can really understand. It's tangible. You have like a real world entity that's tied with something that's tokenized, so it takes away kind of the mystique of it just being an NFT or whatever, or a token on a network, which is really exciting because that opens up everything like real estate tokenization. I think is super exciting. Even just other assets like diamonds, just fractionalizing stuff and lowering the barrier of entry of investment is very exciting to me. And then along with that, I'd say like consumer engagement and loyalty. You're starting to see bigger brands understand what NFTs and kind of Web3 can bring in for your customers, and like kind of tie them longer and get that retention that a lot of brands need. So I'd say those two.
Yeah, so I think going first in this helps a lot because I agree with you guys in terms of what I would normally think of for the bull run. But I'm going to say something different just to be different. So I actually think the bull run might be taken short because of the macro cycle in TradFi. I think now you're seeing crypto trend with TradFi a lot more than you have in previous cycles. And personally, I think the TradFi cycle is getting a bit long in the tooth and has some potential issues coming in with inflation and interest rates. So I think we might get a shortened bull run. Sorry for the spoilers. In terms of themes, I totally agree with everything people have said before. I'm going to talk about AI a bit because you guys didn't talk about that. I think AI is going to be, it already is a huge theme this cycle and will continue. I think ultimately blockchain can solve a lot of problems that we have with AI. I think a massive one for me is the impersonation problem that's going to happen. You're going to have AIs that can create videos, create assets that can impersonate other people very quickly. And having blockchain as that place of sovereignty that can say this is the person that created this, or this is the actual person that made this thing, is going to be a huge unlock for lots of things. As well as running AI on-chain. I'm a massive believer in kind of open, decentralized technologies, and AI is being kind of centralized and controlled by large entities. I think is very scary for the world. And having decentralized AI, that running across deep in networks and on-chain is going to be very important for the future of humanity. So,
yeah, I think lots of good points. I agree with pretty much everything everyone said. Mostly right now, I think what we're seeing as far as the run-up, it's a lot of the same money in the market moving around, so we really haven't seen the introduction of a lot of new liquidity, which is going to be really big for growth, and I think that's still coming. I do think that the most important factor is regulation in the United States, and I think that that's obviously not going to happen until the next election happens, so I think that there is a bit of, calculation there, potentially a pretty big sell-off, people rage quitting crypto after the next election while we establish some type of meaningful regulation. I kind of think that that might be a period where it becomes difficult for retail to participate, and when institutions get a little bit of an advantage, getting a crack at some, you know, good entry prices. But you know, as a gaming company, I think like we're mostly waiting for the biggest companies that are, you know, tastemakers and trendsetters in the space to be able to decide how they're going to meaningfully incorporate cryptocurrency, and in order to do that, they need to know what rules they're playing by. So I think regulation's like this kind of big thing we need to get through. I do think that for we're seeing creator content becoming more and more accepted as a major form of entertainment, and I think that that's going to be a really big part of blockchain adoption. We're going to see those creators have a very easy way to monetize their content, as well as, you know, on and off ramp it, or, you know, take it into other financial micro ecosystems. So yeah, I think all these, you know, all these little Uber drivers, eBay power sellers, I think all of these little economies are going to get really empowered by blockchain, and we're going to see people decide to park their liquidity inside of where it makes the most sense to them, as opposed to traditional, you know, places.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sonia. I'm the founder of Orbis86. You heard from me earlier, so I'm not going to introduce myself again. As far as the question goes, what would we see in terms of mass adoption? One of the things I feel is what's going to be important is how well ledgers, decentralized technologies, get integrated as a technology that is seamless to use. Because today we can all agree that adoption is horrible. If you want to play a game, you probably have to first figure out your wallet, and then every time you're buying something, you have a transaction that you're signing. It's not very seamless. So all of those intricacies, I mean, it's like, you know, you have great power, and with great power comes great responsibility. But when you're playing a game, you just want to have fun. You don't want to get a sense of that responsibility. You just want to have fun, and you want those transactions to be seamless. So I feel that that is one of the challenges. I look at Web3 as a technology, and that's why I focus more on Web3 rather than talking about crypto. I do have my own Pepe that I put like $400 last year, and 2 days back it was like $9,000. I'm like, what happened, right? None of my real utility coins have actually pumped at all, and Pepe is like through the roof, and the same with Bonk, and it's going bonkers. But I look at Web3 as a technology. It's the next generation of internet to build decentralized applications on. But the user experience has to be better and not worse. So I feel that as soon as we get to that position where today when you use the apps on your phone, you don't know whether they are built on Java or .NET or JavaScript or what the heck is going on in the background. And then when Web3 reaches that level, when you don't realize whether your application is centralized or it's decentralized, that is the moment when we'd really be primed for mass adoption.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you all for sharing. And talking about the length of this bull run, I would say, oh, Paul, do you have anything to add on? Oh, okay, got it. So talking about the length of this bull run, so definitely different entrepreneurs, different investors have different insights. For me, I believe it can last longer than all the previous cycles, because right now, yeah, right now we have, woo! Cool. Right now we have BTC ETF, we have ETH ETF, and you can see when you join this year's Istanbul consensus, you can see all these amazing founders, builders working on their projects for real. That means like this entire Web3 industry is getting better and better. So I believe it will last longer than the previous cycles. And talking about the regulations, yes, frank speaking, for most of the Web3 entrepreneurs, higher regulation might not be a good thing, because it is harder for them to issue tokens in the future, and there are more and more stricter policies. However, I would say regulation is a good thing for the traders and the investors, especially individual investors, because they will have a secure and safer investment in the future on projects. And talking about the narrative, it is a fun fact that in different countries, different areas, there are different dominations. For example, in the United States, we talk about Web3 games, we talk about SocialFi, deepin, RWA, AI, of course. However, at the beginning of this year, I went back to Asia. So do does anyone know what is the biggest trend in Asia on Web3 right now?
Bitcoin?
Yeah, it is totally Bitcoin ecosystem.
Dafu told me that a month ago.
Yeah. So when you go back to Asia, so everyone is bullish on Bitcoin ecosystem. Layer 2, ruins, inscriptions, so everything is crazy because they try to figure out some new stories besides the Ethereum. So I would say it's a fun thing to learn about. And for other founders here, if you try to build something, focus on the training thing, I would say. And also try to make it long run. Very important. And my next question is kind of like customized to each one of you. Maybe you can start from you, Soniya. So as the CEO of Orbis86, I know that you have built a very amazing Web3 community, and you are basically everywhere for Web3 conferences. I'm wondering, regarding games, what is your vision for the future of Web3 games, and how can Orbis86 contribute to this vision?
Thanks for the question, Dafu. So my vision for Web3 games is, alludes back to my previous answer, right? Where people just come and game. They don't realize whether it is Web3 or Web2. They game, they want to have fun. And just like people are very used to in-game currencies, I think when you put gamers in a room, and we obviously have a niche population of gamers who make money gaming. But for 99% of the gaming population, and the gaming population, it's 3 billion plus users in the world, out of which, if you look at the demographics in US, more than 55% of the gamers actually identify themselves as casual gamers, which means that they're not even necessarily trying to be competitive. They're just trying to play a game so they can have fun. Now, when that element of fun is mixed with an element of, hey, you can make money, I think that's great. But the primary narrative still has to be, you can have fun. And, oh yeah, by the way, your in-game bucks, if you ever want, you can go and monetize them as well. But the main narrative should be, you should have fun. And for people to, again, have fun, the user experience should be seamless, it should be great, and you need to meet the gamers where they are at. Not expect them to climb like 20 stairs or climb the Himalayas to come and meet you. So you need to meet them where they are at. And what we are building on at the moment, we are trying to, again, encapsulate the intricacies of Web3 connectivity the best we can. Even we are figuring things out, but we are in particular building our gaming application, our gaming platform, not just on top of web and mobile, but also Discord. And Discord recently released their embedded app SDK. And for builders who haven't checked that out, it actually makes development for Discord really nice. Facebook, when Zynga came on Facebook, Facebook had 200 million monthly active users. And Discord is right now between 150 to 200 million monthly active users. So it is a nice platform to consider building on if you are a gamer. And their embedded app SDK means that you don't have to build specially for Discord or just build boring text-based games. You can now have nice graphics within Discord. So that's what I think. Like, again, you know, just summarizing it, seamless user experience. And if it is a game, the most important aspect of the game should be the fun aspect and not the monetization aspect.
Definitely. Yeah. Totally makes sense. And echo back on this part. So talking about the fun part, frankly speaking, I think before 2022, it was mainly like GameFi dominating. And like you mentioned, so everyone played the game just to earn more money. And that is how GameFi started to dominate the previous cycle, I would say. And after that, people started to talk about Web3 games or Web3 gaming. And we tried to have more AAA feeling Web3 games into this industry. I would say that is definitely the direction all the gaming platforms and the gaming projects going for. And so for Web3 founders, entrepreneurs, builders, what we are looking for is just to have more massive adoption from Web 2 into Web 3. So that is why gaming is always, I would say, the #1 choice for most of the builders. Because no matter if you are addicted to any games before, you definitely play some games for a while in your life, right? So gaming is definitely a good direction. And talking about the technology behind it. Just like, I would say, just like a cell phone. So when we use our cell phone, we don't need to know how to code the Bluetooth technology, right? We only need to use it. So that is how we wanted, what we wanted for Web3 games. Just to play the games, enjoy the games, while we can also earn some money without having the Web3 technology feeling, without asset trading or something, without NFT or something. So I would say that is definitely the direction we're going for.
And I want to quickly add one thing. We even have food in the back room there. Oh, yeah. Because I just want to make sure that nobody is sitting hungry. There's a lot of pizza in the back room. So whenever you guys want, you can go and grab a slice of pizza, but do come back in here. Sorry about that.
So I just want to jam on that fun bit, because I think the real trick is to take the Web3 mechanics and the things that Web3 brings and juice up the fun of normal games. So the thing that I really like is thinking about how you can do that. So one of the things I think about a lot is kind of loss and what it means to lose something in a game. It always feels really bad. But if that thing now has a real monetary value, that feels even worse. So you can really increase stakes and increase risk. That's why I'm really interested in like extraction shooters and those kind of games, because I think there's really interesting mechanics there that can increase the fun with adding those Web3 elements, not just kind of taking a Web 2 game and like stacking on some Web3 parts. I think really using Web3 to make that core fun is the trick that we need to find.
Definitely, definitely. And we don't just combine Web 2 games directly with Web 3. That is quite a different thing, because for last year, so when I was in LA for Game 7's conference, gaming conference, and I saw a lot of Web 2 gaming companies joining Web 3, and what they do is just asset trading. That's it. But still, their games are definitely Web 2 games, so very, very good performance, very good experience. Yeah, cool. And my question for Jason is that I know that Aavegotchi built a very vibrant, a very good community for the gamers and the gaming developers. So I'm wondering, what are the best strategies that you have used that you feel like the most successful, the most effective for building this community, and what's your plan to make it sustain and make it grow further?
So the community owns Aavegotchi, first and foremost. So we're completely self-funded. We raised close to $40 million through our token sale. The majority of that money has gone back into Aavegotchi DAO, and anything that happens in the protocol is voted on through DAO initiatives. Pixelcraft Studios, the company that I work for, maintains ownership of the IP, so we still work with the IP. But we have built completely 100% in the open. A lot of people talk about doing that. We've done it. A lot of people talked about raising inside the community and doing it without VCs. Like, we've actually done that. There are no VCs involved in Aavegotchi. They've put nothing in, so we do what we want. Although it's, as people in the DAO world know, it's a process. So I think first and foremost, building a protocol that was from the very onset designed to foster game developers from the community to build games. That was how we started, and as we approach the launch of Gotchi Chain, 50% of the games going live are games that were funded from the DAO and by game developers inside of the DAO. So only half of the games were funded and developed with through Pixelcraft. The other half were completely community funded. So for us, we wanted to build a community where for many of those members, the game was building the game. So we have people that just showing up every week in our community calls and on our DAO calls and voting on the initiatives. They have an interest in building games, but they have a 9-to-5 job and they can't really run a game studio. So we have kind of provided them with the opportunity to work at a gaming studio and have a little skin in the game through digital assets. So I think like providing an ecosystem that allows people to participate in all different capacities is something that's very, very important, and that I think we've done very effectively. I think a lot of NFT communities fall short because if you're not a whale, it's very difficult for you to have any meaningful participation in the community, or you're getting strung along because there's not truly an end goal or a vision there. So I think that's the last thing I'll say is, like, our founders were very responsible. They had a vision from the start, and as a community member, I can say that vision's changed a little bit, but it's always been to build a gaming protocol owned by the community and to do it all in the open, and for the most part, that's what they've done.
Wow, amazing. That definitely sounds like a successful and bounded Web3 community for gaming projects. Great job. And so I go back on this part. So we talk about the community. Yeah, definitely. I would say I'm not a tech person. For me, I would say one of the most important things for a successful Web3 project is definitely the ecosystem and the community. So that is why most of the projects try to decentralize and try to have more benefits for their community and ecosystem. And for all the founders here, if you're building a ecosystem or layer 1, layer 2, especially infra projects, try to pay more attention on the community and ecosystem. Yeah, thank you. And for Paul, so my question that I know that Somnia has done a great job on the integration of blockchain technology into games. And I'm wondering, during this process, what kinds of like a unique or the biggest challenges we have met? And what did you do to overcome them?
Yeah, this is an interesting question. I'm going to take it in two ways. So the first way, I think people have been talking about this already, it's the UX problem of Web3. At the moment, as a gamer interfacing with a lot of Web3 games, there's loads of hoops. I need a wallet, I need a thing, I have to sign transactions. It's hard as an end user to do that. So what I've seen a lot of people do is actually they almost build their game in a Web 2 fashion and then tack on the Web 3 stuff to the side and kind of leave that to people. They can go into that Web 3 part if they want to. I don't think that's the right way. I think basically we need more technology. We need solutions like people on the stage here are building that help with the UX problem, that make it so that more people can onboard into Web 3 and just play these games because they're fun rather than having to worry about all the stuff in the background. I think the other part that I've seen, and this is what we're trying to fix with Somnia, is the performance of blockchains. I think once you're getting into a game with hundreds of thousands of players all wanting to transact, buy and sell items together like in an MMO or something like that, just current chain technology today don't scale to meet those performance characteristics. You're talking about tens of thousands, if not even hundreds of thousands of transactions per second sometimes. And with minutes of block finality with some chains, it's just too slow. So for me, there's a performance problem that needs to be overcome. The way we used to do this is we put loads of Web 2 caching layers and like layers in front of blockchains. That just caused more problems where users would all of a sudden lose items and be like, what's going on here? So I think really the performance problem needs to be fixed in order for us to solve on-chain gaming and make more stuff go on-chain. I think another solution to that is like the L3 scaling solution, but we also looked at this, and the problem is once you get to certain levels of user base and certain levels of transactions, you hit up into limits there. So that's kind of my view about what's kind of the challenges and how we can overcome them.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm glad to know that Somnia is trying to solve this and trying to make the gaming performance better and better. So I'm looking forward to it. And my question for Devin.
And I'd just like to interject, but Somnia is backed by Improbable. And Improbable is the company that provided the tech for Yuga Labs' other side. So not a lot of people know that about Somnia or even about Improbable because it's an infra play. But one of the things that other side did right was they upgraded the aspect of MMO, massive multiplayer online aspect, to allow thousands of, or at least hundreds to a couple of thousand players to game in one instance of a game. Because today a lot of the gaming platforms can't do that. So they definitely know how to scale tech.
Yeah, that's why we built the blockchain. It's tens of thousands of people in the same space at the same time, and that's basically what happened. We couldn't.
It's not even been done in the traditional gaming industry, and I mean, Improbable is not necessarily a Web3 company, but you know the technology is amazing.
Yeah, we spun out the Web3 part into the Somnia brand. That's basically why we've created it.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah. Cool. And my question for Devin is that I know that Hedera has done a great job on the security and scalability. How do you think these features can fit into the Web3 games, and how these features can address the current challenges faced by blockchain games?
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, Paul, like the performance being a key kind of important piece for developers. I think Hedera, one of our like talking points is our throughput. We have about like 10,000 transactions per second, I think is what our limit is around now. And along with that, very like low predictable fees, like 1/110th of a cent for every single transaction, which is I think why we're known as like an enterprise distributed ledger, because it's really easy to scale on our network, and that fits right along with the sort of gaming storyline. And in regards to security, we really like to talk about asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerance, which just makes it hard to change the consensus of the network. And you talked a lot about governance. I believe in it. We really underline that. We're like ACID compliant. We have a Hedera council that is made up of 31 enterprise brands today, and each of them hold a node globally and are like maintaining that node on the network, which again kind of adds to the
brands
security
are
piece.
like Google, Boeing, IBM, Dell, ServiceNow. So just well-known names.
Literally all the giants.
Yeah, we're doing okay. You know, we're doing all right. But yeah, I feel like all those pieces together not only give confidence in developers and projects to build on us, but we also have kind of like the features to help support them as well too. Along with our community, I think our ecosystem is amazing. They're fired up about kind of everything that releases, regardless of what sort of focus the project is in, and really supportive. So yeah, kind of all those pieces.
Perfect, thank you. And my question for Wayne is that I know that Feel aims to simplify the user's experience on Web3. I'm wondering, can you share some successful stories that Feel protocol was integrated into the usability of some gaming platforms?
Yeah, so we're actually just starting to scratch the surface into gaming, but over the last couple of years, we've partnered with several different projects to where we were able to partner with a company called MetaKeep and launch what's called the Feel wallet, which is MetaKeep built a phenomenal wallet that has a phenomenal onboarding experience to where it's very much the user still thinks they're in Web 2, but in the background they're getting that MetaKeep wallet infrastructure and they're getting a Feel handle because all of the assets, no matter what chain they're playing on, those assets can all link to one handle. So that's one of the biggest things we're doing. It's a wallet as a service, subscription service. And we just recently announced a partnership with Scale. Scale Chain, basically any games that they incubate on their chain are going to use that Feel wallet, MetaKeep's infrastructure, Feel handle. Because, I mean, everybody said you've got to make you got to make the games easier to play. Focus on what makes Web 2 games great is the ease of use to get in and play. And what can Web 3 solve? Don't just put a game on chain to say, oh, it's a Web 3 game, you can play to earn or whatever. No, let's take the best elements of the Web 2 games where people are building games that are fun to play, and let's tie in those Web 3 elements to where those of us that care about it, it matters because, yeah, you have ownership of your assets. You can't have certain things revoked, and you can even tradable assets. And there's so many different reasons why you want Web 3 elements in there, but the users that don't care about it, who cares? They won't even know they're playing on Web 3. They won't even know that there's blockchain elements. And so that's what we got to get to, and that's, I mean, Sonia's even mentioned, that's not just gaming, that's any aspect of Web3 you're using. It's got to be to where the user is just having a great experience and they don't even realize they're using blockchain technology. And that's where we've got to get. That's where we've got with other technology cycles, and that's where we've got to get when it comes to crypto and Web3.
Perfect. And to summarize all the insights, so I think the goals for Web3 games is to have more fun and earn more money and have a less Web3 feeling. I think let's aim that direction. Yeah, we can definitely build a future for Web3 games. And because we have another panel, so my next question will be my last question. Let's go really quick on that. 2 questions together. So yeah, that is also something I'm wondering. So for you guys, Web3 games, GameFi, Web3 gaming, fully on-chain games, which one do you think we are right now? And that's the question number 1. And for all the gaming-related entrepreneurs, builders here, can you give them a 1-sentence suggestion? Yeah, let's.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned that the whole game doesn't have to be on-chain just because it's on. Just because we can say, oh, it's Web3. Yeah. Build the best elements, the parts that need to be Web3. Focus on that. But don't lead with your Web3 game. You're just a game that's fun to play. Focus on that and use those Web3 elements in the back end to enhance the user experience, the user ownership of their assets. So we got to the point where we hide Web3. We're all talking about it at conferences, but the everyday person is just, hey man, have you seen this game? It could be whether it's the next Angry Birds, the next Fortnite, doesn't matter. Add some Web3 elements to it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I find it so interesting because the marriage between Web3 and I guess Web2 gaming or whatever you want to call gaming is clearly like under the curtains, it's like makes perfect sense. I feel like somebody beforehand was talking about their daughter playing Roblox and all these assets that are on Roblox, and it's like not tokenized. Like that doesn't make any sense, right? And it's if you can still have Web3 be a big engine within a game, like Wayne is saying, doing all that infrastructure work, probably on Adara. I'll just say that. But yeah, make sure that you're like not losing focus on creating a great experience for your users, because that's where you're going to get your community. And without like a community and kind of a following to help promote everything that you're putting out and support you as you're putting everything out, you can't like negate quality. Always think about that first.
By the way, how many of you are planning to watch Karate Combat tomorrow? Woo? All right.
Come on.
All right. Well, you'll probably see a big etch in the ring because Karate Combat is built on Hedera. So every time you're wagering the karate coins on your champions, all of those transactions are being recorded on Hedera.
It's so cool. Like if you're not familiar with the app, it's almost like a DAO. It's like a community DAO at the end of the day. The Karate Combat does up-only gaming, so they don't have to worry about any of like the gambling requirements or laws. But you can bet on fighters. They allow you to pick who fights who, where they're fighting, how much money that they'll get at the end of the fight. They can even vote on rules. It's just, again, I was talking about consumer engagement and loyalty at the start of this talk, and I think they're a great representation of that on Hedera as well, along with gaming.
So I'm going to answer this question to a little bit. So I believe eventually I'd love a world where all of the game logic of a game could be fully on-chain. The reason for this is if you can get to that world, games become infinitely more moddable, infinitely more customizable and reusable. And you get kind of an ecosystem that happened with DeFi, but it happens in gaming and metaverse. So that's where I'd like us to be. But to your question, I don't think we're there today. I don't think we're anywhere near there today. I think if I was to give advice to a Web3 founder today, I would say, think very carefully about your target audience and whether Web3 enhances your game or actually detracts from your game. I think a lot of people just get on the Web3 bandwagon because they see money, because they see VC money in the place, but it doesn't make you successful. You won't get players. Use Web3 appropriately and use it well for your game and make your game better with it, not just because it's a way to make money.
I'd say, we look at Web3 as a utility layer that allows for all different types of levers to be applied to like already pre-existing and new gaming experiences, and how those levers are applied that's where like the magic will happen, I think, for adoption. So like, for example, we've got a game called Gotchi Guardians that's a tower defense game, but the enemies in the game will react differently based on market conditions at any given time. Yep. So that was like one way of taking on-chain data and applying it to the gaming experience. I think very early on, everything we did was on-chain. That was something that we prided ourselves in like quite a bit. But I think that as we move towards trying to compete with the greater gaming industry, we're not going to do anything that compromises the end gaming experience. And right now, that's a combination of being on-chain and off-chain. And I think that combination is like more than adequate for where we're at to at least get people to participate. And down the road, maybe we'll see more of this stuff stay completely on-chain, but I think for now it's all about the end gaming experience, which is something that we really need to be considerate of, because we're competing with one of the biggest industries, or not competing, but trying to integrate into the biggest media industry out there, essentially. Cool.
So the blockchain gaming is growing. Web3 gaming is seeing a lot of good adoption, more investments flowing in. And the gaming industry is a $250 billion plus industry. Thankfully, because of the Bitcoin pump, the Web3 industry, the crypto industry now is a $3 trillion industry. So obviously, you're looking at a $3.5 trillion market if you combine the two. So my advice to the founders is going to be, any good founders, you should actually eat your own dog food, as we say it, right? If you are launching a game, spend hours playing that game, not just building it. And if you cannot spend hours and you get bored, then you probably need to pivot. So again, I think that's the best advice I can give. Like, eat your own dog food, spend time as a player, and see if the experience is intuitive for you. Because if you get bored and you get sick of the wallets hanging up, the transactions not going, then imagine how are you going to use that to really onboard hundreds of thousands of people, because you are the person who built it, and if that's irritating you, you are going to probably lose users much faster than you gain them because they're not getting the experience that they're looking for.
Perfect, perfect. Well, I think time is up, and thank you everyone for joining us and sharing your insights. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, you can wait a little bit. So I hope you have learned more than you expected from our amazing speakers. So right now, let's give them another round of big applause. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you to our panelists and moderator for doing a fantastic job and curating an interesting and engaging conversation. Next, we have AJ from Secret. AJ from Secret, please come up.
Hi guys, my name is AJ and I'm with Secret. We provide a backup and recovery solution for your seed phrases. A quick, I guess, on history on how blockchain started, and we had problem with the seed phrase storage was, old days we put it on a piece of paper, but it was very easy to lose. And after that, people said, I'm going to copy it in multiple places, which obviously causes its own issues. Oh, I see. Okay. Sure. Perfect. All right. So after that, metal engravers came out to kind of protect those seed phrases, which also was very time issues. And after that, iCloud came out, and people tried to kind of back it up, the seed phrases on iCloud. And then after that, account abstraction is very recent these days, that you use account abstraction to recover your seed phrase. Now, I want to talk to you about Secret and what it does. So the way we work is we are the only solution that provides an encrypted QR code, and that's how we're going to deliver a very secure solution to secure and back up your seed phrases. And the way we do that, we get your seed phrase, we shard them, we embed them into a set of QR codes, and then for recovery, just do a threshold, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5, whatever you want to do that, all that is customizable. So we call these QR codes QR slices, and we would like to show off our patents. The way it works is very simple. Step 1, you decide how many slices you want. We have from 2 to 11 slices, and obviously the higher slices you get more redundancy and more security depending how you set up your threshold. So as you can see, we have 4 slices out of 7 that would basically get you the seed phrase back. Once you create your QR codes, you distribute them in different places. Like you can keep a QR code at home, one at the office, and one at the bank deposit. You can choose guardians as well, like a friend or a family member. There we go. So for recovery, again, in this example, 2 of them is, let's say, you keep your cell phone at work, and you lose 2 slices because you have 1 slice printed at work and 1 is sitting on your phone, and you lose 2 of them. So you can use the other 4, that is maybe you're using 1 in the safe, 1 from the home, 1 maybe you text it to yourself, and 1 you keep it on the cloud. And that gives you the threshold to get your QR code, your seed phrase back. It's 30 hours of development time to do. And it works with single signature, multi-signature, or MPC wallets. So it's very versatile, and it's very easy to integrate. This is an example with Excel Pay. This is a 2 out of 3 example where you create 3 QR codes, and any of these two QR codes will recover the seed phrase. And the walkthrough is very processed. You download the app, and then you choose to back up, and then instantly you get your QR codes, which you can, and then multiple options are given to you. You can print them, share them, the options are on endless. And then these are the benefits. It's very easy to use. It's always recoverable on Arweave. This is important. If you go out of business, or let's say the wallet company goes out of business, you still can go to Arweave and be able to recover your seed phrase from arweave.org, and that's always going to be there forever. It's passwordless, and it works with state planning as well. So let's say in my example, you have a 5 slice with a threshold of 4. You keep one to yourself, you give one to your spouse, you give 2 to your kids, and 1 to your attorney. So no one can collude behind you, because your attorney is going to obviously protect your back. You got your one that you have. So in the case if you go, like you pass away and you want to have your family access to your funds, you can have them. Listen, if I got a bit, if I die for God forbid, you guys have 3. Go to my attorney. He has the 4th. All of you guys can make a threshold and recover your assets. And then obviously, again, you get full protection against loss, fire, and theft. It's a full self-custody solution with full autonomy. We have up to 11 factor recovery solution. And what's very important also is it gives you 100% privacy. So governments, providers, and nobody can see, have access to you, what you have, how much you have, where you have it, all that is all confidential. We're looking for wallets to integrate with. So as a wallet company, obviously you're going to have a new revenue sharing, a revenue stream. It's going to give you, a lot of, I hear like wallet companies have issues with their customer service. When somebody loses their phrase, it's just hard for them to deal with it. This kind of helps with that. And what's nice about it is you configure it once and it works on all blockchains. That's what's with account abstraction. That's one of the biggest things, that you have to create a smart contract that it works with different blockchains, and that is an issue with us. It's very easy to maintain, and it's easy to set up. Our pricing is, again, from 2 slices, which is free, and then it goes, as the slices go up, the prices go up with it, which means probably you have more crypto or more valuables that you want to protect. And obviously, you need higher threshold or redundancy to get your QR code back or your seed phrase back, and that's our pricing. And we like to brag about how we are, much better than account abstraction. There's 27 advantages here. If you guys want to do a screenshot of this, you can. Again, it has to do with it's more security, more privacy, and it just gives you a lot of control. On our website, we have all this. I know my time is up. I just don't want to kind of take more time than I have to. But this is basically all the benefits we have. And we do have a free use if you want to kind of use that coupon code that it gets you from our app. You can go in and download the, not download, just use the app and be able to kind of recover. And yes, and also it's there. Yeah, so we have any questions before I? Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Don't forget to use the QR code. Next, I would like everybody to please come up forward and sit down. We have our final closing panel. It's an exciting panel. So I would love your undivided attention. Please come forward, give the panel some respect. They're taking out their time to share their wonderful knowledge with all of you. And I'd like to invite Chris Janu. Am I saying your name right? I know him so well. From Draper University. He's the head of the ecosystem. And Draper University has some amazing programs for entrepreneurs, and he can tell you all about that. And he's going to moderate our final panel. Thank you.
Hey, everyone. Anyone that's got some pizza, come in and sit down. Anyone in the back making noise, come in and sit down. Looks terrible on camera when there's no one in the front. And I'm down a couple of speakers, so I might go to you guys for some support and some Q&A. But yeah, I'm from the Draper team. We're pretty well represented here tonight with Meet the Drapers, Draper University. Who else we got? Well, Draper Associates invested in Unstoppable Domains. We're in kind of everything. But I head up most of the crypto programs we do. So if you're a founder looking to get into like an accelerator or like an incubator, I would love to talk to you. We just did a big deal with Stellar, but in the past it's been Algorand, VeChain, Neo, a bunch of others. And we also just do like stuff that's not Web3. Tonight we're talking about enterprise adoption in particular. And I've got some superstars here. We are down Sandy. She broke her leg, and then I think she just did her pitch and left. So I was hoping she was going to stand here and I could still ask her some questions, but that's not the case. So who do I have? Let's see who we got. Alain? Alan? Is it Alain? Alan? Did he make it out? Alan? No? No? Yeah, all right. Vineet, I know it's Vineet. You here, buddy? Hey, a round of applause for Vineet from Cypher. I will get everyone to introduce themselves, don't worry. Sandy's not here, but you heard a little bit about Unstoppable Domains. Brendan, you around here for, hey, Brendan from ALTA Ventures. And then Alison from Google. Does Alison make it out? No? Fireside chat. We're going a bit more intimate. All right. And I'm going to get a bit of audience participation too. Let's start with just a quick introduction. Like, what do you do? What brings you here? Let's start with you, Vineet.
Hi guys, I'm Vineet. I am the CEO and managing partner at Cypher Capital. It's a $100 million fund based out of Dubai. Wu Blockchain just mentioned that we are the second most active VC in the last quarter with close to 113 investments in 18 months so far. What gets me to this place, first, a holiday. Yeah. It's a good place to come and relax. But other than that, it's all about meeting right people. So there are certain set of events that I go to annually everywhere, whether it's a ETH Denver or an ETHCC or a GDC. You get to meet more qualitative people. More qualitative people in a bear market and more noise in the bull market. But this one is also one of the good events that I love to come annually to.
Very cool. My first time here at Consensus and in Texas. And I know it's a bit of a party place because I think like the elevator smelled like vomit. That was my first bit. All right, Brandon. Yeah, little introduction.
All right, guys, I'm Brandon from ALTA Labs. We are a blockchain accelerator.
Alan, we've got Alan here too.
We are a blockchain accelerator based out of Dubai with roughly over a $12.2 billion market cap amongst our partners and clients. We focus on a lot of Web3 startups in the space, especially in the USA as of recently, and a lot of current and existing blockchain enterprises. So, I think the most important aspect of coming to events like Consensus and all of the side events is specifically for the experience and for the networking, just to meet the great people and build fruitful connections.
And Alan, thanks for joining us. We'll get it short on people for a minute. Yeah, can you please just introduce yourself and what brings you to Consensus?
Sure, absolutely. First off, they have these cool screens in front of us, but it says time's up.
Yeah, no, we've got all the time in the world.
Super. So I start off with a light joke. So co-founder of NGPU. I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about what NGPU is doing, but really what we're doing here is trying to build out a solution to a problem. So AI is becoming a huge new sector, and AI requires computational power. And what we're doing is building the infrastructure behind that. And there are other people who've built infrastructure doing this. Amazon's built this for a long time, but it's not Web3 focused. So what we're trying to do is build a Web3 focused version. And there are Web3 focused things there, but they also have problems with stability. They're not enterprise ready, and they're not that stable. So what we're doing is we've got some patents already, and we've built out a kind of platform that basically has load balancing, so it'll be really stable. And by having that load balancing, we also have scheduling. So during the downtime, where there's more idle GPUs, we can do computation. This will also reduce the pricing as well. So it'll be more stable, it'll be better load balanced, and it'll also have better pricing. So it's kind of like a win-win in many ways. So I think this is something that we get quite excited about, and there's a few other things that we do in there as well. But essentially building out the infrastructure, I think, is a really exciting new area.
Very, very cool. And I do want to definitely get into AI. But why consensus? You got fantastic events in Dubai, Singapore. Why here?
Starting with me? Yeah. I think the answer is everywhere, right? Like, it's not, one or the other. I think consensus is one of many. So I think Dubai is an amazing city. Singapore is an amazing city. These are all amazing cities, as well as Austin.
I was really hoping you were going to try and get the crowd on your side with consensus is the best, but it's okay. It's okay.
But the crowd probably goes to all of them anyway.
That's true. They do seem to travel. Let's start on the AI bit, and I'll start with you, Vineet. AI, is kind of disrupting everything. Obviously, it has, it's definitely getting the enterprise adoption much faster than the crypto. Where do you see the overlap? Where do you see the kind of where AI can help? Blockchain can help.
So first, I'll talk on AI because AI has been the talk of town around. I go to Davos every year, and this year, last year it was all about crypto. You went to the open forum, and it was full of crypto. Everyone was showcasing there. But this time, it was all about AI. You had the AI house, and you had AI something. But the dodgy part is that every time something gets showcased in Davos, it normally crashes next year. But coming back to the AI part of it, I think it's making life easier in a lot of senses. Everyone says that AI will change the world because it will be adapted everywhere. I don't think that's the case. There are certain segments where it has really built up well. One of them is suppose customer service. There are bots which can actually see to it that you don't need people to interact with people, because if you look at it, 80 to 90% of the queries that come to a customer care center is technically the same. So AI, from getting the data in and getting answers, can actually solve a problem. Then there's also this thing about decision making. Everyone has data, but the biggest problem while taking decisions is that we add our emotions to it. Everyone can trade here, but the problem is as soon as you make $500, your emotions get hooked on and you end up screwing the money. So with AI, the second biggest thing is that decision making is easy. Overall, when I look at, can it be, why it can go across industries? Because suppose in investment, there was this fund which decided to build up an AI fund. That means your data is put in and the AI decides whether to invest. You can make a great presentation, you can get great data, you can fake up that data. I can make great presentations and great Excel sheets personally, come to me for that. But when you look at a founder and when you talk to a founder, you actually figure out that whether he's the real person or not. So AI is interesting, but some places you would need the human interaction. Some places you really need to know whether the guy who's going to implement and really build this billion-dollar company has the capability, capacity, and the perseverance to build it. So I think it's the big thing. Crypto, yes, everyone's adding a AI to any shit that they had and making it a crypto, I think, but there are use cases, but not that huge at the moment. They'll build eventually.
Interesting. We were judging a hackathon the other day. It was AI focused, and that was the one of the winners. It was around if you're going to get kicked out of your house, what kind of legal options do you have? And this was the winner of the group. It was essentially a chatbot that took the legal jargon and made it simple for people to understand. For me, I was like, well, if I'm going to get kicked out of my house, I actually want to talk to someone. I don't want to get stuck on a chatbot. So that was really love the fact you mentioned that the human element. Yeah.
One of the things you should actually, because you mentioned crypto, this is something really interesting I've seen. Look at companies that are saying they're AI driven, and look at what they were saying 3 years back or 2 years back. They never had AI in there. They're just using the bloody hype around it. So there are people who are doing great stuff with AI, but some of them are just using the hype to get crypto gang.
While I've got you, right, and with your investor hat on, what are you seeing now that's super interesting, in your opinion, where AI is meeting blockchain? From a deal flow perspective.
Again, we technically don't go segment specific, we go more founder specific, but in AI, I've seen some AI game agents. I personally don't like that whole idea, but the thing is that you can actually train your character to play a game, and then the game, your training actually decides whether you end up winning the game. I don't like it because I like playing a game. I don't like something else. I wouldn't sit in front of a PlayStation for the game to play itself. But there are things like that coming up. I've seen one AI agent which is actually going to look at images and build up, classify those images. So, suppose there's a e-commerce play which wants to build up SKUs and put content around it. So this AI agent will do it. They have the crypto angle by rewarding users and things like that. But some of them are really coming up, but not. I haven't done a lot of AI investments in crypto yet.
Yet. Brendan, what are you seeing in terms of AI meets blockchain in your world?
Well, pretty much everything that the insights that Vineet specified on, I think, pretty accurate. A lot of people are trying to build stacks with AI because of the hype. A lot of it is integrating like OpenAI because it's open source and all of this. But there are a few projects out there that are trying to build real AI businesses and models. For example, there is one blockchain project that I personally invested in. It's an AI generative blockchain itself. So, I think for the most part, going full all in into AI isn't there just yet.
Can you just elaborate quickly on that AI creating its own blockchain? Sounds super interesting.
GPT protocol.
Got it. Done. Alan, what are your thoughts? And how does it help enterprise adoption, I guess, tie back to the theme?
So I see AI as, and I heard this recently, as companies a few years ago were saying they're an AI company, and people were investing in AI companies. Now I don't believe there's such thing as value in AI companies. I mean, there are a few AI companies, ChatGPT, things like that, but every single company now will use AI, and it will have to use AI. Just like in the past, every company adopted the internet. Every company will have AI. Before, it maybe had some algorithms or maybe some kind of way of doing things, but that will be replaced with AI. And that's not like Web 3, Web 2. This is everything. Everything in the world will use AI. And for us, that's really valuable because basically somehow that's going to need computational power and that's going to need infrastructure. And the more we use AI and the more advanced we demand on AI, we're going to demand huge server capacity. And we're going to need to ramp that up, really fast. And we've seen what happens with like power grids and things like that when, issues happen in Europe and how they couldn't get that power grids up in time. We need to ramp that GPU up in time. So we've got the infrastructure, we've got this now, and as this ramps in the next coming months and years, we have the ability to harness that and facilitate that AI.
So how is this what you're doing with your business? Is that what?
Yeah, that's what we're basically building a platform where you can use anyone else's code. So I don't know if anyone's familiar with Hugging Face. So this basically allows you to use kind of AI models. And you then run those AI models on something like AWS server or IO.net. And what we're doing is basically similar to what Amazon's doing, but with stability, building on the blockchain, building dynamic pricing, building in scalability, and building in pay-per inference, pay-per token. So we've basically taken something and made it much better and cheaper.
In the kind of the spirit of the thematics around enterprise adoption, are you seeing some interesting customers take up your solution?
Yeah, so I think what we found is that at the moment, Web 3 and Web 2 are very separate. And what we're finding is companies that are Web3 are using a lot of AWS and using things like AWS, and they've been dying to try and build in their platform on a Web3 solution. Because also you have the payment. So if you're a Web3 GameFi company, you're running all your games on some kind of GPU. And if you're running that on AWS, you're having to try and transfer money into fiat US dollar to pay AWS. But if you run this on NGPU, you can pay us with stable coins with USDT, which is so much easier. And especially if you're like a startup and an up-and-coming company, you know, trying to open up US banking and go through all of this is a hassle. So we see a lot of those Web3 projects actively looking to try and find solutions that also use Web3. Because as we all know, Web3 is such a tightly knit, integrated community, you know, we should be trying to build a solution that helps those other Web3 communities.
Vineet, hello. Yeah, Vineet, I was really hoping to have Google up here and just to see, you know, their opinion on, you know, enterprise adoption and stuff. Like, maybe it's a bit of a loaded question, but, you know, the market, right, obviously has been a prohibitive, you know, maybe they want to get into Web3 building and all that. What are you seeing that, what is the preventative for, you know, enterprise adoption at the moment?
So again, personally, in my opinion, I used to be an entrepreneur before starting the fund. I think, you know, in Web2 space, B2C was sexy. It would raise you $20 million, $50 million. But something that would actually land up to do a great business was B2B2C, you know, going through the enterprise route. Because how do you acquire customers always becomes a critical problem. You know, how many times will you give airdrops? How many times will you bribe people to come on board? So the thing is, real adoption would come when, you know, if you look at, say, someone wants to build up a platform that will be a, you know, loyalty program. Rather than giving everyone $20 of an airdrop, why don't you go and sign up with the Singapore Airlines or with an Emirates Airlines and actually get access to their hundreds of thousands of users to build something on blockchain as well. Now, the only problem that I see is, you know, because I come from institutional sales. I used to handle billion-dollar accounts in TCS. The problem is the sales cycle on enterprise is different. You know, you incept the idea in a company that you need to do this because it will become better. And it's a 6 to 1 year process. And in 6 to 1 year, in crypto, entrepreneurs want to become millionaires. So, you know, it's easier to launch a token. In fact, someone said it's easier to launch a token than to build a factory. So I think enterprise adoption is really a key that people should look at. If they want to build real sustainable businesses, what they should look at is how can blockchain or how can the product that they are building add value to the customers of the enterprise. You know, it's a lot of negotiations, it's a lot of value add. In fact, someone asked me today that, you know, they were trying to do something with the Central Bank of Dubai, and he said, you know, it's tough to get them on board. Yes, it is tough, but you don't understand that you will actually end up building a real billion-dollar company, real, not on paper billion, but billion-dollar company out of it. So I think it's a way to go, adoption through enterprises, but people are not building it yet that much.
Yeah, the sales cycle is super interesting too for me, because then it's like almost, I go to all this trouble, I try and get this big corporate on board, and then the market collapses or FTX happens or something that's like, you know, our management thinks we should back away from the blockchain and at the moment, yeah?
We see this in investment as well, you know, as soon as BTC crosses 70,000, every family office wants to invest in crypto. As soon as it crashes to 18,000, they think it's dead.
Yep. And we're here. Brendan, what do you think? Any of your startups building for blockchain? You see a bit more of that in the venture studio. Are they trying to attract corporate clients?
Yeah, you know, I think now especially with the ETFs approvals, Bitcoin, and now Ethereum, we're going to see a lot more projects that actually want to take it serious, because we're gaining more institutional adoption for crypto. You know, we're building more awareness. So, you know, I definitely see this growing to be a higher spectrum, and pretty much every pinpoint Vineet specified on is point on. So that's literally my input on that.
You mentioned the Ethereum ETFs. Can you talk a little bit more about them? I had as a note to make sure that I asked you about this.
Yeah, so the beautiful thing about the ETF, again, this allows institutions to be more involved into crypto. Now, when we have institutions like BlackRock, Chase, Bank of America, or whomever, Fidelity, it helps build more awareness to the masses, especially like individuals or people or groups that aren't actually into crypto or aren't into a Web3 in any of this or a blockchain in general. So with that adoption, it makes it more abundant and makes people feel safe. Like, okay, we can invest in this now. It's not a scam. We have BlackRock and all these big companies investing. So it just makes people feel good.
Alan, thoughts, comments?
The question one more time.
Losing my train of thought here. What's preventing enterprise adoption? How are you pitching it? How are you getting corporate clients across the line, I guess?
So I think enterprise adoption for AI is difficult because you have to have traditionally a data-centric approach to your company. So if your company is not building itself in a data-centric way, you can't just add AI to it. So if you're just like using some kind of, everything's just in your mind and you're not, your sales are, whenever anything comes in, you handle it and everything's manually done, that's hard to do AI too. So you have to have a data-centric kind of approach to your enterprise to then automate that. And I think that corporations that have a data-centric approach can easily automate that. And I think as a society, because everyone hears AI every day, they hear this on, in both Web3 and in Web2, we hear this in, all the news, everyone is moving to that data-centric approach. Everyone's seen what ChatGPT can do, and I think it's like woken everyone up. And I think that this is why it's like AI is so big now. And I said, the first thing I said was, there aren't AI companies so much anymore, but every company is an AI company. Everything you do is AI, because AI is critical to make those disruptive 1000x changes. So I think, what is the barrier is becoming data-centric as an organization. And then once you become data-centric as an organization, it's really easy to add gasoline to that and fuel that.
Is that the same case? So it's just kind of moving on a little bit from AI. Is that the same case with just blockchain in general that you're seeing in the market?
So I think blockchain really struggled on the basically implementation of it. So I think in the early days, documentation was difficult. I think that it was slow, gas fees were expensive, and people kind of felt, oh, let me try and implement, Bitcoin and let's use that as money. And that didn't work out, right? And now we have so many more coins and so many more ways of doing it with lower gas fees, and it's so much documentation there. I think that we've actually solved a lot of the issues that enterprises had getting into Bitcoin, because enterprises, they're not fast organizations. They want to try and see that it's proven. They want to try and see that there are proven market leaders, and then they want to get in. And I think that we've now, especially in the recent kind of bull market and things growing up, we're really seeing that enterprises are actually saying, this is not going away. This is not some bubble. This is not, collapsed. This is here forever. And we need to start trying to look at how to implement that now.
Amazing. Any questions from the audience? Go ahead, Vinny.
Actually, I just wanted to do a survey here. Guys, a quick question. How many of you actually own Bitcoin? How many of you own an ETF right now? Yeah. So you guys know that, if you put money in Bitcoin through ETF, you don't own your Bitcoin. I hope you all know that. It's cheaper. Doesn't matter. It's not about things being cheaper. A shitcoin is cheaper than Bitcoin, but you need to have Bitcoin. So guys, one of the things about ETF is, yes, it will get a lot of money. It will get a lot of retail. Again, I don't think, people were discussing that bull run is here. I don't think bull run is here because retail is not buying it. As an activity, go in your Ubers and ask those people if they have actually invested in crypto this cycle. You will be shocked to know that people haven't, because inflation, people are still not able to pay their house rents.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's still far away, and ETFs, everyone's been talking about ETF. It will help, but I don't think the bull run has still come.
Just a personal kind of question out of curiosity. Does all this institutional money coming into Bitcoin ETFs mean that they can just fuck with the pricing a bit more if they want?
So they're buying. Yeah. So every cycle they buy earlier and then dump it on the retail. So the retail will come in 3-6 months. So they're just buying. They're preempting the buy. Because as soon as interest rates go down, people will have free money, because right now they're doing 3 jobs just to pay their bloody rents. The day interest rates go down, the economy becomes easier after elections probably. They will end up speculating. If you know, there was a data that the gambling, mode in people has increased in the last 1 year, because they have never been able to make money in the last 2 years.
Got it. But I'd also say, like you were saying on the election, I think that it doesn't matter which party wins. At the moment, the economy is kind of constrained because there's risk and uncertainty. But after the election, there will be a new person, and that'll have certainty. And I feel very strongly that things will really go up a lot after the election.
So you will dump after that on retail, huh?
Brennan, what's got you excited at the moment about the future of the industry?
Everything. Everything. You know, a lot more. A new generation is coming into blockchain, into crypto. You know, the millennials, which hopefully not just shitcoins, but you know, I think a lot of new amazing technologies are being built. You know, like the narrative's really strong around deepen, gamify, a lot of RWA again now. So, you know, I think a lot of interesting technologies will start to emerge, and hopefully it'll help lead the bull run.
And is it like a matter of getting Web 2 developers across too, right? Like it seems like, maybe I have a biased opinion, and we just invested in some kind of zero, you know, base layers, all that kind of thing. Is everyone competing for these same kind of 25,000 developers at the moment?
You know, like a lot of the Web 2 companies, the bigger ones, will start to, you know, build onto the blockchain. So I mean, anything could happen really, but you know, again, like with the merge from Web 2, the Web 2.5, the Web 3, the Web 4, Web 5, however far we go. I mean, I definitely think we'll start seeing a lot of the Web 2 companies wanting to build on the Web 3 because they'll feel like they have to, or maybe they feel FOMO, you know, so something of this.
Got it. What's got you excited at the moment, Alan?
I think, I mean, I've mentioned it a few times, but I really think how much AI can change everything we do. I think everything, you know, ChatGPT changed like everything. It really blew people's minds about what can be done. And especially in countries like America, where people are really into creativity, it's making people say, okay, that was done. What can I do? And that happened months ago. People made this realization. So people have been building and building, and all these things are about to be released. So I think that we're going to see this flood of creative things that people have been building for the last 6 months, year, coming into the market soon, that are just going to blow our minds in the same way that ChatGPT did for text, but for everything.
Got it. I might just go to the audience for a couple of questions. Who's going to help me out with a question for the audience on enterprise adoption? Yep. I'll direct it at you, Alan. Maybe can you just repeat it for the audience on the camera?
I think what you were talking about was garbage in, garbage out, which is essentially taking garbage data, and then if you take garbage data and you run it through some kind of AI, and you still have garbage. And I think there's a really great thing that I've heard on this, which is garbage in, gospel out. And a lot of organizations are taking this kind of garbage data in and then saying, oh, it ran through the AI, so therefore it's got to be right. And I think that that is actually a problem in our society that we're going to have to deal with, because, for example, in the medical sector, we're seeing AI makes decisions, and it makes really good decisions because, for example, like looking at radiology reports, a doctor, an experienced doctor has maybe seen thousands or tens of thousands. An AI has seen hundreds of millions. So how can you compete with the AI? And then it's almost difficult socially to say, wait, I don't think this is right. Like, yeah, okay, that's the AI and it's seen millions of things and I've only seen a few thousand, but I don't think it's right. And I think that's potentially what you're talking about is how do we challenge AI? How do we say, you know, hold on, like maybe AI is not right in this. And I think that's what we need to build into the AI systems that we build. And I think that that's what we're seeing in a lot of these, like Hugging Face and building out all these different models is you won't just build one model. And I think that you will build several different AI models and run the same thing on several different models, and that will give you several different outputs. And then when you start seeing outliers and inconsistencies, you can then use AI to analyze those inconsistencies. So to try and solve some of these garbage in, garbage out things, you can actually use AI, run multiple programs, and start detecting outliers from things. So we can almost use AI to solve AI's problems.
Maybe just a final comments from you guys if you wanted to jump in on the... No? All good? We did it? We made it? 2 people down?
We will make it in the next 2 years. But again, guys, I've been talking about something because people, every event that I'm going to, everyone has been talking about this question about the bull run. Guys, please don't focus on the bull run. The bull run is happening. You will make a money. It's about how do you cash out and store that value. Because I personally believe we are replicating the 1970s stagflation. That means inflation went down, up, came down, then the whole market crashed. So hope you have value, which you have stored it in a right place for the next crash, 2025 end.
Can I get a massive applause for our guests tonight for giving up their time? Thank you very much.
I'd like to call up Ken from GNUS.AI to close the session. And thanks, everyone. After this, please enjoy your drinks, get some pizza, and mingle.
What's that? Oh, yeah. We have an after party going on after this, and we have some free drink tokens and stuff like that, so you're all welcome to stay. But I love the sessions. I was sitting back there watching about all the AI stuff, and you know, everybody was an AI company 3 years ago, and we started in 2016 as an AI company, so it was really cool to see that everybody kind of realizes that, you know, the narrative this year is AI, but we've been doing that since 2016, so we're kind of not following the narrative really, but we're developing with the GNUS.AI. So I just wanted to say thank you for everybody for showing up and listening to the panelists. It was great hearing about the Web3 gaming side and the AI stuff in enterprise, and I agree with all the investors and the enterprise panel about, you know, everybody's going to be using AI, so you're no longer an AI company. It's just great that, you know, you're going to still have to use AI, which helps with, you know, the infrastructure and what GNUS.AI is doing. But thank you everyone for coming, and you can stay for the after party, and we have free drink tokens and stuff for everybody too as well. So